If you're a US citizen and you want to move abroad, I'm here to help. I have traveled to over 50 countries and lived and worked abroad in 5: Spain, China, the Czech Republic, Vietnam, and now in the UK. So I have quite a bit of experience moving abroad as an American and applying for the correct visas. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the easiest countries for Americans to move overseas. So first, I'm going to start with the countries where you can stay long-term, meaning you can both live and work there for longer than 6 months with absolutely no visa or paperwork at all. So that makes your life so much easier. All you need is your US passport. First up is Albania, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated countries in all of Europe. It has some of the most beautiful beaches in Europe, stunning mountains, lakes, and a bustling capital city, Tirana. I spent about 7 weeks traveling all throughout Albania, Tirana, Berat, and then a solid month in a beachfront rooftop apartment in Saranda down in the Albanian Riviera, and I can honestly say this country has it all. Plus it's so cheap, so it's a perfect place to have a home base, to travel around Europe while also saving money and not have to deal with visas or any paperwork. US citizens can stay in Albania for 1 whole year without needing a visa or residence permit. Next up is Georgia. No, not the US state. The country Georgia that borders Turkey, Russia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. It's kind of on the intersection of where Eastern Europe and Western Asia collide, so it's not really considered one or the other. I have heard it's very similar to Turkey in the sense of it's kind of where European and Middle Eastern cultures, architectures, and foods really kind of collide and come together to create like this melting pot. And it's super affordable, so it's a great place to save money and live for cheap while also traveling around the Middle East and Eastern Europe. It's a place that's super high on my bucket list, and as an American citizen, you can stay here for 1 whole year without needing a visa or residence permit, same as Albania. And to finish off this section of visa-free long-term stays, this list on the screen are all the places US citizens can stay for 6 months without needing a visa or residence permit, which includes Mexico, Canada, and the UK. Next, I'll talk about the countries that have digital nomad visas, since that's probably the easiest route to go, so you can keep your fully remote job, or you can find a fully remote job and just live in another country and work there legally. Of course, each one of these countries has different requirements, but generally you need to prove that you have the funds to live there. This could mean 2 things: either a bank statement with a certain total amount, or providing pay slips to prove how much you earn per month. And again, the amount is going to depend on which country you're trying to get your digital nomad visa in and you're applying for in that country. The second thing that you're normally always going to need is proof of health insurance. Basically, they want to make sure that you're going to be a self-sustained human who isn't taking from their economy, but rather just adding to it. So here's a list of all the places in the world that are currently offering a digital nomad visa, and then I'll go into further details about a few of them that are pretty popular. I mean, you can see this list is pretty big. There's so many opportunities, any region of the world that you're interested in. We'll start with some popular ones in Latin America, starting with Costa Rica. It's a super popular destination for US citizens because of its cheap cost of living, great weather, time zone, and proximity to the US. To apply for the digital nomad visa, you need to prove that you earn $3,000 US per month, and the application fee costs only $100. So it will allow you to stay in Costa Rica for a year with the option to renew. You can easily apply online, and it usually only takes a few weeks to get approved. They also have a retirement visa and an investor visa. So if you want to apply for either one of those are very easy for US citizens as well. Colombia not only has a digital nomad visa where you have to prove you earn 3 times the amount of the Colombian minimum wage per month, which is only about $750 to $800 US per month that you have to prove that you earn. And the application fee is super cheap at only about $52 US, which will allow you to stay for 6 months with an option to renew. They also have a retirement visa and a study permit, which is easily attainable for US citizens. And what I mean by a study permit is not the typical student visa where you're enrolled in an undergraduate or postgraduate program, at a university, because that's pretty easy to get anywhere you go really in the world. And typically your university would have someone that would help you with that or help you with the process in general. But for this study permit, you actually just need to be enrolled in 10 hours of class per week from a recognized institution, and you can study anything that qualifies. So you can take some Spanish classes and just live in Colombia while you do it. And lastly, Ecuador, which has a huge American expat community and actually uses the US dollar as their official currency, which makes life a little bit easier. So in order to qualify apply for their digital nomad visa, you need to prove you earn 3 times the Ecuadorian minimum wage per month, which is only about $13.50 US per month. So you have to prove you're earning more than or even to $1,350 US per month, so a few hundred higher than Colombia's requirement. It's $50 to apply and allows you to stay in Ecuador for 2 years with the option to renew. Now I'll move on to some popular European countries that offer digital nomad visas, starting with Spain, which is one of the most affordable countries to live in Europe with relatively good weather year-round and a great work-life balance. To apply, you need to prove you earn at least $2,215 US per month, and the visa will allow you to stay and work remotely for a year with the possibility for an extension, and the visa costs about $265 US. So Portugal also has one, but it's actually called a temporary stay visa, but essentially it is a digital nomad visa, and it offers the same pros to moving there as Spain does pretty much, which is affordability, great weather, and great work-life balance. The minimum monthly income requirement is slightly higher than Spain's though, at $2,950 US per month, and the visa costs about $190, which will be good for 1 year with the possibility for extension. And lastly, I'll talk about Greece, which is considered the easiest digital nomad visa to get in Europe. You need to have a monthly income of $3,690 US, so significantly higher than the other two I just talked about, and the visa costs $79 US, which will be valid for 1 year with the possibility of extension. Italy is also on the list, and I'm sure it's going to be an extremely popular digital nomad visa destination for Americans because it's just a popular destination in general for Americans, or I guess for anyone really. But since it's just been introduced and not implemented yet, there isn't any specific information on it. So if that interests you, just keep checking back on that one because Italy is super affordable and has amazing food and weather. So it'd be a great spot to get a digital nomad visa. So now I'm going to quickly talk about retirement visa options. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail here because I'm not currently retired or looking to retire, looking into this visa at all. So I don't really feel too comfortable giving too much advice on it, but I did think it was worth mentioning that they exist since so many countries around the world have a retiree visa for Americans. So on the screen, you'll see all the different countries that offer a retiree visa for US citizens. And if any of them catch your eye, do a quick Google search of retiree visa in, and then type in the country that you're interested in. When you're looking at the results, make sure it's an official government site so you can start to get an idea of what's required to qualify. It's typically just a minimum amount of passive income you are collecting from your Social Security or your pension. So if you can prove that, you should qualify. Now I wanted to talk about a few different visa or resident permit options based on investing that are easy for Americans to obtain. Honestly, I won't go into too much detail in this section because I'd say most people in the world don't have 6 to 7 figures to invest in a foreign country and get a visa in that way. It's just not feasible for the masses. But there is a list here of all the countries you can get a visa or residence permit in just by investing, which is typically nicknamed as the golden visa. So one option that I did want to talk about that is an affordable investment option is the Dutch-American Friendship Treaty, or DAFT, for American citizens in the Netherlands. This treaty allows US citizens to get a Dutch residence permit for the purpose of entrepreneurship. In order to apply, you need to deposit 4,500 euros in a local Dutch bank account, which has to be left there for the entirety of your stay. You cannot use this or touch this money. And then you can apply as either a self-employed person or a corporation. But if you do apply as a corporation, you must prove that you earn 150,000 euros a year. So you might want to go the self-employed option. You can get approved for this visa in about 4 months, and it will allow you to stay for 2 years with the possibility for renewal. And after 5 years, you can apply for permanent residency in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is a very, very sought after place to live for Americans because of their great work-life balance and quality of life. Although their weather isn't the greatest year-round, it's a country with amazing public transport, a top-tier healthcare system, and it's very, very safe. It's also a place where English is widely spoken, so the adjustment or the culture shock shouldn't be too bad, and it'll help you feel settled, a little bit quicker in your new home. I actually have a friend who moved to Amsterdam last year through DAFT as a self-employed person, and he absolutely loves it, plans on extending his residence permit after his second year. Obviously, I would recommend recommend it if you can afford to put the 4,500 euros into a bank account and not be able to touch it. So of course, this video could be hours and hours long if I went into detail about every single visa offered for every single country for US citizens. The possibilities are just endless, but hopefully this video just shows you how attainable moving abroad can be and all the different options you have right at your fingertips. Now let's take a look at the reasons why I decided to leave the US and move abroad to the UK.